What's going on YouTube? I'm back video. So this is going to be a review of Lecrae's All Things Work Together. That one's been around out for a week, and I had time to listen to the songs, and I'm trying just to get the feel of the album, and just talk about share their thoughts on the album and stuff like that. And I just want to get my little take on the album because, as you guys know, I'm a big Lecrae. Even though I may not agree with everything he do, I still like his. I still think he's an awesome, rapper. And like this album made me. This album brought, everybody was seeing his old fans. His real talk, rebel. After the music stops, audience are saying that, oh, this is old Lecrae. This is like, a mixture of old and new Lecrae. The Lecrae that, the Lecrae that we knew and loved from the beginning, and then Lecrae I've grown to love. He's kind of walking that thin line between being a Christian rapper a Christian and being just a regular rapper. This album kind of is too pretty well now because Lecrae's on real. Okay, now social justice, why it's important to talk about Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. It's also you also kind of alienate your fan base. You also kind of alienate your diehard fan base, those who rock with you, those who been with you from day one. A lot of them felt alienated. Then he felt like he's alienated his secular fan base by talking about Jesus too much. And that was part of the biggest problems the Nami had was it kind of try to be a mixture of both, but at the same time, the sound quality wasn't, the sound quality wasn't, again, it was still, he was still trying to be CHH, but it's trying to be social justice, it was kind of all over the place, to put it, in perspective, but like, that's why I didn't really listen to it now that much. I didn't listen to Nami as much as I did Gravity and his other albums, up until now, my favorite album Lecrae's ever put out, just because even though it was his first attempt to being a mainstream, rapper, album to be a mainstream rapper, he still had the core Christian messages in the song, like "Lead Me Higher," um, "Free From All," like songs like that. Really, just said, okay, Lecrae hasn't changed. Messages same, still the same. It wasn't political or nothing like that. It was mainly it was still gospel, but it wasn't too theological. It wasn't like his first three albums where it was mainly focused on theology. So with this album, however, this was social justice and a little bit of theology, hints of theology, but it was mainly introspective. It was mainly saying, okay, look, okay, guys, this is what I've been going through for the last couple of years. You know, I'm not, I've been going through depression. I'm going through a lot of suicidal thoughts. Like Lecrae was just going in this album. Like he was going in. He was going through the fact that, oh, he's a black Christian, but he's served in a white evangelical world. People think that it's because he's a born again Christian that he has to appeal to the white evangelicals. And like when he said that, I know I forgot what I think it was Breakfast Club. Yeah, Breakfast Club. He said, just because I love God doesn't mean make me a conservative. And when he said that, it just made me think. It just shows how divided Christianity is just by that statement. Because if he could, I know Lecrae, he didn't grow up in a black church. He grew up in when he became a Christian, he was mainly around. Even though he grew up in the black community, obviously he's from the hood, but like when he became a Christian, he was surrounded by white white people. So like his whole, his whole his whole background and his whole upbringing in Christ was around white Christians. So like his perspective of being a Christian was mainly on white conservatism, where most Christians in the circle would it was going from being just Jesus, church, shouting, being just kind of in your own world to not being like, this, very evangelical style. So like Lecrae would just always be evangelical from the get go. So that's so Lecrae's perspective is pretty unique in that regard. I mean, for me at least. And I mean, his songs are pretty unique as well. One of the songs that everybody keeps talking about is Aha Gazelle, What You Mean. When I first heard that song, I was like, I don't really understand what they were saying. I don't understand what they were talking about. But then listen to it again and again. I was like, okay, now I see why people like this track so much. I never listened to Aha Gazelle. A lot of people saying he's dope. A lot of people like his music. I know I'm still, I'm still, catching up to all these new artists that's coming out. But like, I mean, Akazel definitely has potential. I mean, he kind of has that mumble rap type of style. I mean, at least in my opinion, but he could rap though. He could spit. I could say that Akazel is definitely, cause definitely a new contender being Lecrae's to be one of the biggest artists in Reach because for a while it was Lecrae and Andy that was taking over Reach, but now Aha's like okay, Lecrae and Andy has been down in Reach for the last 6 years. Now it's my turn to step in, because before it was Lecrae and Trip, but then Trip went on to become a pastor, so then it was Andy. Now it's gonna be Aha, who's gonna be the Lecrae's like newest protege, Lecrae's next biggest artist, that's outside of himself. So definitely a hit right there. He did a song here, Sheared, which was pretty different because Lecrae never like I think it's like probably the first gospel singer he ever collabed with. Like I'm talking like real gospel, like black gospel music. He ever collabed with. You know, I think he did a song Kurt Franklin. I'm not sure, but like the song was dope. Worth It was definitely a great song. Another song that I really enjoyed was Broke, which I didn't realize the song been out for several months. Like I was like, wait. I mean, I was like, wait. I mean, it kind of sounded familiar, but I didn't realize it was out that long. Because people saying, oh, this is the first single he put out. Because the first single I've heard he put out was Blessings. That's the first single that I really listened to back and forth. But this was the first single he put out. But he just put out a music video for it. So that's why I didn't really know about the song. So when I heard Broke, I was like, okay, this song, like Lecrae was just going ham, like especially towards the end of the song, like he was just like man, like Lecrae really went in that song. So Broke is definitely a strong contender for the best song on the album. Of course, he has some other bangers like I'll Find You by Tori Kelly, which was probably the biggest, hit single of the album because they performed like just the day the album released. I remember last Friday I saw Lecrae on Good Morning America. Him and Tori Kelly was performing I'll Find You, and I was like, oh wow, it really blew my mind because I was like, man, Lecrae's really gone big, and his name was on Times Square and everything. So Lecrae has really risen to the occasion when he with that song. And the song is mainly targeted towards cancer survivors, but like you can apply it to any situation in life because um I know that when you're going through something like pretty big and pretty tough, you need that song. Like that song's kind of you need that in like just about every major crisis in your life. That song is pretty necessary. Another song that he put out that um was okay. I said Blessings, Broke Up, Find You. What other songs he put out on the album that I really liked? Oh, Facts. Yeah, Facts. Facts is kind of fun. I like Facts. He kind of cracked me up because he said I'm still black. I'm still hood. You might catch some gas stations getting pork rings and the lemon heads. I was like, oh damn, crazy. Like, oh my god, it was funny. It was kind of funny. I liked that track. It was pretty catchy, pretty fun. But it just shows that Lecrae, still, but it shows Lecrae's, growth. And when I say growth, I mean like, the kind of, where his fan base is like, he shouldn't talk about social issues and stuff like that. But Lecrae, but he's trying to get him to understand that hey, there's other issues I need to talk about besides Jesus, 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 Jesus. And, that was kind of like the big, message he's trying to put out there throughout this album. Is that okay? Yeah, we have. Yeah, I need to talk now. Now we need the gospel. We also need to talk about. We also need to bring the gospel in places that, in places where, you know, where God is like you're not allowed to be in. Um, there's a lot of tracks I like. I can't. There's a lot of tracks I like. So overall, I think this album was pretty great. Definitely, I could definitely say that I could probably say this the best Lecrae's ever put out. As far as albums concerned, I could definitely say it surpassed my expectation because I thought it was gonna be another anomaly where it was going to be mostly about social justice, and then he's gonna put a little bit of Christian songs in there, and then it would just become an album where I listened to it the first time, then I don't really listen to it anymore. Well, this type album, I could say I could listen to this album all throughout. This album I could listen to this album all throughout the year, all throughout the you know, like this album could hold me until he released a new project at least. Because I know Lecrae kind of releases projects at least like once or every year or once every 2 years. So like this project can hold me until a new mixtape or a new album from Lecrae or from Roots in general. So I'll give this album a 9 out of 10, 5 out of 10. So almost perfect. There's some songs that didn't really get me hooked, but until later on. But I could say this album is definitely a classic. This album probably the best album of the decade. Of hip hop. Definitely one of the best projects of 2017, along with Drake's, along with Jay Z's. Two of the biggest artists in hip hop right now. So like Lecrae, he really outdid himself with this album. So with that being said, this is Mario Walker signing out.